Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie Murray, 32 years old, and this is the story of how I went from being screamed at by my own father to get out of his house to owning a 26 million beachfront villa in Florida. If you've ever been underestimated, betrayed, or made to feel like you're not enough, this one's for you. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. Share this with someone who needs to hear a story of resilience and triumph. Your support helps these stories reach more people. So let's get started. It was a Sunday evening, the kind where the air feels heavy with expectation. I sat at my parents' dining table, the same one I'd known since childhood, surrounded by the clink of silverware and the weight of my family's judgment. My father, Dr. William Murray, a tenured economics professor at Berkeley, stood at the head of the table, his voice sharp as a blade. "Get out, you lowlife," he roared, his face purple with rage. My mother's hand flew to her chest, her eyes wide with shock. My brother Patrick smirked into his wine glass, and my sister Amanda stared at her plate. Silent, the words echoed in my head, each one a dagger. Lowlife, trash, failure. All because I'd finally told them the truth. I wasn't the college student they thought I was. I dropped out years ago. What they didn't know was that the failure they were kicking out was worth $26 million. Growing up as a Murray was like living under a microscope. Academic excellence wasn't just expected, it was the only currency that mattered. My father's office was lined with bookshelves groaning under the weight of economic journals. My mother, Eleanor, a high school principal, was known for funneling students into Ivy League schools. Dinner conversations were a battlefield of ideas, university politics, academic journals, and which prestigious institution my siblings were conquering next. My older brother, Patrick, had a Harvard undergrad degree and a Yale law diploma framed in gold. My younger sister, Amanda, followed with a Cornell degree and was deep into her neuroscience PhD at Stanford. Our hallway was a shrine to their achievements, their graduation photos and diplomas displayed like trophies. And then there was me, the middle child, the odd one out. I never fit their mold. While Patrick and Amanda thrived in lecture halls and exam rooms, I felt like I was suffocating. I wasn't stupid. I got A's and B's in high school, but my mind worked differently. I was hands-on, creative, always tinkering. At 14, I started a babysitting network, connecting 30 sitters with families in our neighborhood. By 16, I taught myself to code through online tutorials and built an app to manage the system. It was my first taste of creating something real, something that solved problems. But to my parents, it was just a hobby. That's nice. "Stephanie," my mother would say, patting my hand, "but it won't secure your future like a degree." My father was blunter. Nobody takes self-taught programmers seriously. You need the credential. The degree opens doors. To please them, I enrolled at UC Berkeley, majoring in computer science. I thought maybe the subject would keep me engaged, even if the teaching style didn't. But the first year was torture, not because it was hard, but because it was so slow. I'd finish assignments weeks early, then spend my time working on personal projects while professors lectured on concepts I'd already mastered. I felt like a caged bird, wings clipped by a system that didn't understand me. Then I met Jason Lin in my advanced algorithms class. He was like me, frustrated, restless, itching to do something real. We started meeting at coffee shops, our conversations spilling over into late nights. "The problem with social media isn't just privacy," Jason said one evening, his eyes lit with excitement. "It's that the business model screws over users. What if we built a platform where people actually own their data?" That was the spark for Secure Space, a privacy-focused social platform where users could control and monetize their content. We spent months sketching ideas on napkins, coding prototypes between classes, dreaming of something bigger than ourselves. By sophomore year, we had a working prototype. At a local tech meetup, an angel investor saw our demo and wanted to talk. It was a turning point. "This could be nothing," Jason said, or it could be everything. But we have to go all in. The decision haunted me for weeks. Dropping out would crush my parents. Staying meant watching our idea die as bigger companies moved into the space. After a meeting with a potential investor who believed in us, I made my choice. I'd leave Berkeley, but I wouldn't tell my family. Instead, I built a web of lies. I told them I was switching to part-time studies to balance an internship. I faked class schedules, invented stories about professors, and fabricated assignments. Meanwhile, I moved into a cramped Oakland apartment with Jason, surviving on ramen and sheer determination. Every family dinner became a performance. How are classes, they'd ask. Great, I'd lie, then pivot to Patrick's law cases or Amanda's research to avoid scrutiny. For 3 years, I lived a double life, the dutiful daughter supposedly chasing a degree and the tech founder working 20-hour days to build something revolutionary. The deception was exhausting, but the alternative, facing my family's disapproval, was unthinkable. The early days of Secure Space were brutal. Our Oakland apartment doubled as an office. The living room buried under whiteboards and cables. We slept on the couch when exhaustion won, ate whatever was cheapest ramen, peanut butter sandwiches, the occasional pizza for milestones. We tracked every cent, knowing our savings would run dry in months. We pitched to dozens of investors. Armed with our prototype and passion, the rejections were relentless. The privacy angle is interesting, but I don't see the money, one said. Another was crueler. 2 kids with no degrees and no track record. Come back when you have something real. I noticed a pattern in those meetings. Investors directed technical questions to Jason. Even though I was the chief technical architect, when I answered, they'd look surprised, sometimes uncomfortable. After one infuriating pitch, I vented to Jason. Did you see how that guy barely looked at me? He nodded. Female founders get less than 3% of venture capital. It's not fair, but it's the reality. That lit a fire in me. Every rejection became fuel to prove them wrong. Our break came at a San Francisco tech conference. I was demoing our prototype when a woman in her 50s stopped to watch. "Show me that user permission flow again," she said, her eyes sharp. I walked her through it, explaining how Secure Space was different. After 20 minutes of technical questions, she handed me her card. Sandra Chin, Horizon Ventures. Email me tomorrow. I want to hear more. Sandra became our mentor, a Silicon Valley veteran with multiple successful exits. She saw the biases we faced and helped us navigate them. "Your idea is solid," she told us, "but your pitch needs work. Lead with user stories, not tech features." With her guidance and a $500, $1,000 seed investment, we hired 2 developers and moved into a small Oakland office. Progress was uneven. Some weeks we'd leap forward. Others we'd hit technical walls that kept us up until 3 a.m. Our user base grew slowly friends, then friends of friends. We targeted creators frustrated by mainstream platforms' filmmakers, writers, photographers who wanted control over their work. 6 months in, I suggested a pivot. What if we focus entirely on content creators, make Secure Space the platform where they get paid fairly? It was a game changer. Within 2 months, our user base tripled. Small communities formed around niche creators who loved our revenue-sharing model. By our 2nd year, we had 50,000 active users, small by social media standards, but with engagement metrics that turned heads. TechCrunch ran a feature calling Secure Space the creator-focused platform that might reinvent social media economics. Wired followed with a deep dive into our privacy infrastructure. I lived in fear my family would see these articles, but their world was academic journals, not tech news. As our 3rd year began, the landscape shifted. Privacy scandals hit major platforms, and suddenly our approach wasn't just niche, it was what the market craved. Our user base surged to 300,000, then 500,000. Bigger investors circled. Then, on a random Tuesday, Jason got an email that changed everything. It was from Datasphere Incorporated, one of the world's top 10 tech companies. Their CEO was impressed by our growth and wanted to discuss acquisition. This could be life-changing money, Jason said, his voice trembling. I thought about finally telling my family the truth, about never having to lie again. But first, we had to see if it was real. The acquisition process was a whirlwind. Datasphere sent a team of 12 lawyers, engineers, analysts to dissect our business. They scrutinized our code, questioned our decisions, and pored over our metrics. Each night, Jason and I debriefed at a bar, terrified to hope. They wouldn't send this many people if they weren't serious. Jason said after a grueling day, 3 weeks later, they offered $30 million. My hands shook, reading the number. It was more money than I'd ever dreamed of. But Sandra urged caution. They're testing you. Counter high, we asked for $65 million. Yes? After 6 weeks of negotiations, we settled at $52 million, plus $10 million in performance incentives. The day we signed, in a conference room overlooking San Francisco Bay, felt surreal. Datasphere's CEO raised a glass to the future of secure space. I sipped champagne, but my mind was on my family, who still thought I was a barista. After splitting the proceeds with Jason, paying our team, and settling debts, my share was $26 million. The money hit my account on a Thursday morning. I stared at my banking app for an hour, refreshing to confirm it was real. I kept living modestly, moving to a slightly nicer Oakland apartment, replacing my ancient laptop, buying a few new clothes. Only my financial advisor, Margaret, knew the truth. Most people in your position buy something big, she said. A house, a car, something to mark the moment. I thought about it for days. What did I want? What would make me happy? Late one night, scrolling real estate listings, I found it a $9 million beachfront villa in Florida, 6 bedrooms, glass walls facing the Gulf of Mexico, private beach access. It was everything my life lacked: openness, light, space to breathe. I called the realtor the next morning, saying I'd need financing to keep up appearances. Many clients in this range pay cash, she replied smoothly. 3 weeks later, I owned the villa but hadn't visited. It was my secret, a sanctuary waiting for the right moment. Family gatherings grew harder. Patrick was made partner at his law firm. Amanda published in a top journal. Their successes were celebrated with toasts and pride. While I fielded condescending questions, "How's school?" Stephanie, my father, would ask, his tone dripping with judgment. Fine, I'd lie, spinning tales of fake courses. Patrick was worse. Barista life treating you well, he'd sneer, referring to my cover story. I bit my tongue, knowing the truth would come out soon. That moment arrived at my cousin Zach's graduation dinner. The entire extended family was there, and I was the only adult without a degree. Relatives peppered me with questions. Still working on that degree. What year is it now? 5th, 6th? Each one stung. By dessert, I was unraveling. My father stood to toast Zach, his voice booming. Education is the foundation of Murray's success. Credentials and rigor separate the successful from the alternatives. His eyes flicked to me, and something inside me snapped. I was done pretending. The next Sunday, I arrived at my parents' for our monthly dinner, carrying a bottle of wine worth more than they'd guess. My mother greeted me, her eyes scanning my jeans and sweater with faint disapproval. In the dining room, Patrick was mid-story about a high-profile case, Amanda chiming in about her research. My father beamed at them, barely acknowledging me. For 45 minutes, no one asked me anything. Then, as my mother served apple pie, my father turned to me. "Your cousin's graduation got me thinking. You must hold a record for longest undergraduate," says. 6 years. The room went quiet. Patrick smirked. I set down my fork. "Actually, I'm not in school. I haven't been for years. I dropped out in sophomore year." My father's face froze. "What do you mean?" I've been lying to you for 3 years. I built a company instead, a tech platform called Secure Space." Patrick laughed. A dropout building a tech company, let me guess. It crashed and now you're confessing. Actually, I said, it was acquired last month by Datasphere for $52 million. My father's laugh was cruel. Now we're in delusional territory. You've been lying for years, and now you insult our intelligence with this. It's not a lie, I said, pulling out my phone. I can show you the press release, TechCrunch, bank statements. Enough. He slammed the table. Dishes rattling. I won't listen to more lies. My mother cried softly. Amanda avoided my gaze. Patrick glared. You've always been the problem child, my father shouted. We gave you every opportunity, and you threw it away. Now you're spinning fantasies instead of owning up. They're not fantasies, I shot back. I built something valuable. I made a choice that was right for me, not your narrow idea of success. Success, he roared. You don't know the word. Success is discipline, credentials, institutions not dropping out to play entrepreneur. Your idea of success is outdated. I said, some of the biggest tech leaders never finished college. Patrick cut in. Don't compare yourself to geniuses. You barely got B's, because I was bored. I snapped. Your system works for you, but it failed me. My father stood, trembling. You want to throw your life away? Fine, but don't come back with delusions. Get out. You low life. My mother sobbed. William, please, no, Eleanor. She lies for years, then mocks us. I'm done. Patrick hissed. You're trash, diploma or not. I looked at them, my mother. Crying. Amanda, silent. Patrick, venomous. I hoped you'd be happy for me. I said. I see now. That was naive. For what it's worth. I built something amazing that helps creators get paid fairly. I'm proud of it. No one spoke. My father pointed to the door. I walked out, tears streaming down my face. But with each step, the weight of years lifted. I was done hiding. In my car, I called my Florida realtor. Jennifer, it's Stephanie. I'm ready to move into the villa. Can it be ready tomorrow? That night, I checked into the Four Seasons in San Francisco, a world away from my old life. I called Jason. I told them. I said, it went as expected. I'm sorry. Steph, he replied, I know you hope for better. It's liberating. I realized. No more pretending. What now, he asked. I looked at the city lights. I'm moving to Florida tomorrow. Time to live in the house I bought. The next morning, I booked a first-class flight to Tampa, arranged movers for my apartment, and emailed Datasphere about working remotely. As the plane took off, I felt like I was shedding years of lies. The flight attendant offered champagne. Special occasion, she asked. New beginnings. I smiled. Jennifer met me at Tampa International with an SUV. The house is ready, she said as we drove along the coast. Private chef arrives at 6. The villa was breathtaking, modernist glass walls, ocean views, a palm-lined driveway. The primary suite was bigger than my old apartment, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a private beach. It's perfect, I whispered. After Jennifer left, I walked barefoot through the house, stepping onto the infinity pool deck to watch the sunset. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I settled into a new routine, coffee on the beach, work from a sunlit office, evening walks along the shore. A week later, I posted a photo on social media me on the beach, the villa in the background. Caption, new home, new chapter, hashtag Florida. Notifications flooded in classmates, relatives, friends, all shocked. My cousin Zach texted, "Is that your house?" "What's going on?" I replied. "Yes, it's mine. I moved after the family dinner, told them I dropped out and built a company. They didn't take it well." "Wait, that was real," he wrote. "You're rich, I did well." I said, "That's awesome." He replied, "I'm thinking about a gap year for my app idea. Can we talk anytime?" I texted back, smiling. More family reached out, aunts, uncles, cousins, some curious, some apologetic. Amanda texted 3 days later, "Is it true?" The company, the money I sent her, the TechCrunch article, She called hours later. I should have stood up for you, she said, her voice thick. I just sat there while Dad and Patrick attacked you. You were shocked. I said, everyone was. No excuse. I'm sorry. We talked for an hour. A real sisterly conversation for the first time in years. They're still in denial, she said. Dad thinks you're exaggerating. I want to visit. If that's okay, I'd like that. I said, nervous, but hopeful. My mother called the next day, cautious. Your father doesn't know I'm calling. Is it true, Stephanie? The company. The money, yes. Mom, every word. I've seen the articles. She said softly, you really did it. Yes. A long pause. I always knew you were special. I just didn't know how to nurture it. It wasn't an apology, but it was something. Would you come home to explain, she asked. I am home, I said, but I'm open to talking. 2 weeks later, I hosted a housewarming, inviting the whole family. Responses were mixed confusion, disbelief, curiosity. My Aunt Barbara thought I was house-sitting. My Uncle Thomas asked if I'd married rich. I replied to each. The house is mine, bought with my company's acquisition. Come see it. The day was perfect, 82 degrees, clear skies, a Gulf breeze. I hired caterers, valet parking, and a string quartet. If this was my true introduction, I wanted it flawless. Guests arrived, awestruck. Aunt Barbara and Uncle James gaped at the villa. This is yours, James asked. All mine, I said, giving them a tour. Amanda hugged me, whispering, this is incredible. Zach bounded in. Do you have a boat? Tell me you have a boat. Not yet, I laughed. By 5:30, the house buzzed with relatives exploring the beach and pool. Then my parents and Patrick arrived. My mother looked nervous but composed. My father's face was unreadable. Patrick was defensive. Quite a place, he said. Tone flat. I led them inside, their eyes widening at the art and views. Let's talk first, I said, guiding them to a private sitting area. Silence hung heavy. I assume you have questions. I began. Many, my father said. I told them everything meeting Jason, building secure space, dropping out, the struggles, the acquisition, why I hid it. My mother teared up. My father's expression flickered between disbelief and respect. So, you're worth $26 million, Patrick asked. Yes. Why didn't you tell us? When would you have supported me, I countered. You, who mocked me as a barista dad, who said entrepreneurship wasn't real work, Mom, who cried over a B. You underestimate us. My father said, no, I replied. You would have discouraged me. Quoted startup failure rates, insisted on a degree. My mother protested. That's not fair, isn't it? I said. When did you ever value my path? Silence. My father gestured to the room. Your success comes from my genes, the Murray entrepreneurial spirit. I nearly laughed. The spirit you called irresponsible. My whole life I was protecting you from failure. He said, no, you were protecting me from a success you didn't understand. Patrick shifted. So what now? You're wealthy. Does that make us bad for wanting you educated? It's not about education, I said. It's about respect. Seeing me for me, not who you wanted. My father stood. You've done well financially, but that doesn't justify lying. I'm glad you're successful, but I won't celebrate how you got here. He walked out. Patrick followed. My mother stayed. Tears falling. He's hurt, she said. Not because of your success, but because you couldn't share it. I tried sharing myself my whole life. I said, you never valued it. She nodded. Perhaps we were wrong. She touched my cheek. I'm proud of what you've built. It meant more than I expected. Amanda and I rejoined the party, now a celebration. My extended family, initially shocked, was happy for me. Cousins asked about secure space. Aunts praised the house. Uncle Thomas wanted me to review his son's business plan. For the first time, I was seen not as the failure, but as someone who'd built something real. My mother stayed late, making awkward but sincere efforts to connect. As she left, she hugged me. "I'm sorry we didn't understand you," she whispered. It was a start. 3 weeks later, I'd settled into my new life: sunrise swims, remote work for Datasphere, evening beach walks. I saw my parents' rigid views weren't malicious, just limited. With this clarity, I founded the Murray Innovation Foundation, committing $5 million to support non-traditional entrepreneurs, those without degrees, from underrepresented backgrounds or on unconventional paths. It would offer funding and mentorship, helping others avoid my struggles. One day, my assistant announced, "Your mother is here. I found her in the foyer, nervous. I took a flight this morning." She said, "I should have called." "It's okay," I said, leading her to the pool deck. "Is everything all right?" She looked at the ocean. "Nothing's been right since that dinner. Your father and I aren't speaking much. I keep thinking about all the times you showed us who you were, and we pushed back." Her voice cracked. "I was so focused on the path I thought would make you happy. I didn't see you'd find it elsewhere. It wasn't all bad," I said. "You gave me stability, confidence to solve problems, but you missed so much." We talked for hours about secure space, the acquisition, the foundation. "I pushed you too hard," she admitted. "I was scared you'd struggle like I did before my degrees." "Did Dad send you?" I asked. She shook her head. "He's still processing. Patrick's like him. Change is hard." She stayed 3 days, and we built a fragile new connection, honest and real. Amanda visited twice. Zach came for a week, and other relatives made trips, each visit healing a piece of our fracture. My father and Patrick kept their distance, but my mother reported shifts, my father asking about the foundation, Patrick defending me to a friend. 6 weeks after moving, Jason sent me a Forbes 30 under 35 article featuring us as tech innovators. I forwarded it to my family. My mother called, thrilled. Amanda texted congratulations. Patrick sent a brief impressive work. My father didn't reply, but my mother said he'd printed the article and kept it on his desk. It was small, but it mattered. Months passed, and I built a new community, entrepreneurs with stories like mine. Young women I mentored in tech. Sandra visited, approving of my centeredness. "The real success story," she said, "is you're okay with complicated family ties." A year after the acquisition, I hosted the foundation's first cohort, 20 brilliant, unconventional entrepreneurs. Watching them network on my beach, I felt purpose deeper than any degree. My father texted that night, his first message in a year. "Your mother showed me the foundation's website. The work you're doing matters. I'm trying to understand." It wasn't an apology, but it was a bridge. Walking my beach under the moonlight, I reflected on my journey, the lies, the confrontation, the freedom. Success wasn't degrees or dollars. It was authenticity, impact, helping others find their paths. Being underestimated had become my superpower. Rejection had set me free. If this story resonated, hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had to walk away from expectations to find your true path? Your stories inspire others. Thank you for joining me. Remember, success is your happiness, not others' expectations. Until next time.